We've all heard the saying, if you love something, set it free. Or if you love someone, set them free. If it comes back, well, it's yours. It was meant to be. If not, it wasn't meant to be. This quote just might sum up Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's relationship. Seems like the whole country's talking about
it. It's either that or some people are saying it's a rebound. Some are saying, I mean, there's all kinds of theories out there. Yes, recycling. So Bennifer, that's what we called them in the early 2000s, well, they're making headlines again. They were spotted spending time together in Montana. Look at this. Oh. See them in the car?
She looks miserable. Okay.
Does she? Yeah, she's focused.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So they rekindled their romance, apparently, and everyone is talking about it to the point where even people around them, like, well, first, J-Lo's ex-fiancé, Alex Rodriguez, everyone wants to know what he's thinking about it. He's reportedly upset about the reunion, has tried to call him, like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, nope, I'm done.
Upset.
Reportedly.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about it to the point where people who know them, if you have an interview set up, like, you're going to be asked about it. They want to know what you're thinking. And Ben's best friend, Matt Damon, he's been doing interviews, and he was asked about it. And he said yesterday he hopes that the rumors are true and that it would be awesome, and that's a quote, if they started dating again. So his best friend approves.
All right.
So will Bennifer work this go round? What's really going on here? And does it ever make sense to go back to your ex? And is there a difference between if you go right back versus years later? Well, we have licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist, Dr. Rachel Needle. You have some answers for us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, since everyone's giving their opinion about Bennifer reuniting, supposedly, what was your first thoughts? When you saw this, you saw that they're already back together. What do you think is going on?
They have a shot?
So it's not uncommon for people to go back and try a relationship again. People do it for a lot of different reasons. So, and we don't know that they're back in a relationship. So who are we to judge, right? They could have a mutual understanding that this is for fun. They enjoy spending time together. Or it could be with the idea that maybe they can make it work this time. So,
and that's an interesting point that you say, if they have an understanding, hey, we're just having fun. Because there are some relationships like that. Folks like, hey, we don't want no strings attached, that kind of thing. But isn't it harder when you have past with someone and emotions that were once there?
I mean, it depends. So we don't know what led to the, ending of the relationship in the first place. And, after all these years, people are oftentimes in different places. So when one or both people or multiple people in a relationship have done work on themselves, had made changes, have, understood, how they respond and react in relationships, we're often not the same person as we were the first time around.
Well,
so,
especially 17 years
and marriages
ago.
later too.
Yeah, marriages in between. Well, in your experience, what are some of the reasons that you would go back to an ex? Is it mostly just comfort level?
That's part of it. It could be safety, comfort, familiarity. For some, they don't want to start over and be open and vulnerable, have to go meet somebody new. It could be fear, could be unresolved feelings, even love. And for some, it could be just great sex.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I think that's a lot of it many times. If people just get back together for a little while, I think sex is way up there on the list.
It definitely could be. And so, again, we don't know what the motivation for being back together is. We don't know, is that something that they have a mutual understanding of what this is this time, or if they're giving it a shot again. And who are we to judge? If they're happy, if they're having fun.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
They're two consenting adults.
Yeah.
Certainly no judgment here. I mean, it's J-Lo. It's Ben Affleck. Who could blame them? But here's the thing. Here's one take that I saw online yesterday. It was like, my gosh, again, someone else's take. J-Lo, she seems to jump from relationship to relationship. Like, she wastes no time. Could that be concerning? And it made me think about when I saw that, the book she came out with, I think it was like 2014, called True Love. And she did talk about relationships and specifically about what it felt like the first time when she and Ben Affleck broke up. So I want to read this quote and get your thought on it. She said, it felt like my heart had been torn out of my chest. And people do a lot of things, to make themselves feel better in moments like these. Some people do drugs, some drink and go out and party. I sought out comfort in another person. I tried to find someone who could make me feel loved and wanted in my loneliest hours. What do you think of that? The fact that she makes a point. She even knows, hey, look, I like to jump to another person.
Yeah. So it sounds like she has insight into herself and how she works and what's important to her. She didn't want to be alone. She needed that. She needed that reassurance, that comfort in the moment. And so it takes a lot to be able to not just know that about yourself, to be able to communicate and vocalize that. And it sounds like she had pretty deep feelings for Ben Affleck that first time around.
But isn't this, man, she's putting it out there again. If she had her heart ripped out of her chest, you're going to go back in and that could happen again.
And it absolutely could. But if we're not vulnerable, we also don't get all the wonderful things out of a relationship, because sometimes that rebound does end up being more. So as long as she knows what she's getting into, and they're hopefully in different places than they were 17 years ago, maybe they have a shot.
Have you ever
this time.
done it, Doctor?
Have I ever done what? Gone back in the relationship?
Yeah.
I have ended a relationship and years later given it another shot. And again, as long as you're in different places and you are, there's communication around what needs to be different. You have to be willing to forgive and forget and move on. That's very important, because if you're getting to the same patterns and you aren't willing to let some of what happened in the past go, it's less likely to work.
That's the thing. Making sure you don't get back into the same patterns.
That's
I feel
right.
like.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know for sure if the person has really grown up or changed or evolved. You won't know that till you're back in it.
Doctor, just one quick question. I would love people's last names. Your last name is Needle. What's the worst joke you hear all the time? I mean, get to the point, that kind of crap.
So I've done a lot of work in the substance use disorder industry, and so clearly, the Dr. Needle is a joke all the time.
If anybody knows how to deal with this, it'd be Dr. Needle, that kind of stuff. Okay. We need to have you back. You're great.
I would love that. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.